Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about the networking security analytics, specifically, more in detail in the FortiSIEM analyzer and FortiNDR. Actually, Fortinet has a lot of solution that enables customers to monitor their network, network security. So basically, we're able to give you the details, the information of what's happening in your network, whether it be a performance related, security, or network related. Yan. So if you look at this diagram, so what are the important components that we need today, to be able to know what's happening in our network and the security status or posture of the organization. So our vision actually is to have solutions such as the FortiSIEM, the FortiAnalyzer, and also the FortiNDR. So these solutions actually are able to provide us, for example, the FortiSIEM. It's actually part of the security operations or SOC tool, that enables us to collect logs from various sources, not only Fortinet solutions, however, even third party, like switches, router, servers, and other devices that can be supported by the SIEM. So when we talk about big data, we're talking about vast amounts of information that needs to be processed. So managing big data is actually quite challenging if you don't have the enough tool, or the tool that enables you to easily manage and monitor all of these logs, and traffics. So the SIEM is the purpose of the SIEM is to do that, to centralize all the logging and security analytics. Now, if you can see here the other side, the red part, this is the FortiAnalyzer. As part of actually Fortinet, we have the security fabric platform ecosystem. So what this ecosystem comprises is various Fortinet solution would be able to send all their logs into the FortiAnalyzer. However, the advantage of FortiAnalyzer is it is an integration point. For example, our network firewall and our other Fortinet solutions are able to share intelligence to integrate functionalities by utilizing the FortiAnalyzer as the security fabric. However, Fortinet solution can also send logs to the FortiSIEM. So FortiSIEM can also ingest logs from this. So that means in a high-level overview, the Fortinet solutions usually, or we recommend to send the logs to the analyzer, especially for FortiGates, and sending logs to the FortiSIEM from other devices other than Fortinet, so that we're able to collect all the logs in your network environment. So actually, I want to mention also what we are running here is what we call the FortiOS. So the FortiOS actually is our custom-built operating system. It's very secure and it is purposely built for security. So this is a hardened operating system that we run in our solutions. So Fortinet has a lot of solutions, from the firewalls to WAF to endpoint, even to switches and wireless connectivity we have, not only security. So the great thing about this is we are a purely security-focused vendor. So that means our products are actually built to be secure from day one. So you can also see that there's a FortiManager here. Now this is a central management. So this is a central logging and reporting, the FortiSIEM and Analyzer, and there's a central management. So you can also see here the FortiGuard. So FortiGuard is our threat intel. This is coming from our cloud, and this enables you to get the latest updates for the latest security threats. Because running a NOC SOC environment, you need to have the latest detection capabilities. So FortiGuard gives you that. So Fortinet as a company, being the most widely deployed firewall, has the widest reach of threat intel globally. So that's a good advantage that we can offer to our customers. You can also integrate our solutions into third-party threat intel. So if you have other third-party threat intel platform or subscription, you wanted to integrate into the FortiSIEM, you can do so. This one, the CMDB is where we are able. This is actually running inside the FortiSIEM. It's called the Client Management Database. This actually gives you a real-time catalog of the available devices in your network. It can also do discovery of devices in your network. Okay. So let's first talk about FortiSIEM, unifying the NOC and the SOC. So how do we do this? Actually, the reason why we need to unify this is because there are a lot of instances where security events can actually affect performance or availability. So if we're talking about SOC, it's called Security Operations Center. So this is a group or an organization group inside the company that focuses on dealing with incidents relating to security. Security incidents such as attacks, breaches, and other incidents that could be generated by network security devices such as firewall and IPS, and other solutions pertaining to security. So this is a part where the SOC group manages, and there's a NOC. It's called the Network Operations Center. This group actually takes care of availability and performance. So what actually FortiSIEM is able to deliver to the customer is to unify yung security events saka yung network operations monitoring in a single platform. So what we have here, if you can see, these are example of security events coming from devices such as firewall, router, switches, and other devices. And you can see here, performance-wise, these are the metrics, attributes that need to be monitored by NOC, in terms of utilization, uptime. So all of this actually we can have this in under a unified NOC and SOC solution, which is the FortiSIEM. It provides you increased functionality because you can relate this performance problem to each other. For example, you might be wondering why this server has a very high utilization, maybe CPU. It turns out maybe this server has been infected by a crypto malware that uses the CPU to process. So that's one of the advantages of able to correlate the security events with the performance-related events. So it actually provides you better visibility overall in a single console, a single interface, rather than having a separate NOC and SOC environment or interface. So it reduces time to respond as well because it's simplified. Yeah. So these are the standard features of an SIEM where we have a lot of data to analyze. These are the standard feature, like analytics, like analysis, the profiling behavior. However, this is what's common SIEM provides in the industry. So if you look at the enhancement that the FortiSIEM will be able to offer, it's much more compelling, and these are the key capabilities that are some of them are unique to the FortiSIEM. So like I mentioned, the single pane of glass, so unified NOC SOC, it is capable of running in multi-tenant architecture. So if you're an MSSP provider or you have a company with multiple sister companies under a large parent company, you can do multi-tenancy deployment. You have real-time analytics for monitoring, reporting incidents in real-time asset discovery. You're able to intelligently discover devices that are in your network that you might not be aware of. You can do network scan, device scan, and then of course yung network security analytics. This is the one of the most important part of an SIEM. Our architecture actually is rapidly scalable as well because we're talking about big data. So big data, you should be able to start small and then you'll be able to grow based on the demand. So you don't need to provision everything from day one. You can provision and then you can just increase the capacity as it is needed. So we also have lastly rapid and flexible integration, specifically with a lot of vendors, hundreds of vendors that you can integrate, or they can send the logs to the SIEM for processing. Okay, so if you look at here in the right, so what you can see here is actually some of the key summary takeaways of the FortiSIEM in terms of capability and network as well as reporting. So let's talk about the rapid scalable architecture now. How we're able to achieve this. Actually, FortiSIEM is available either as a virtual appliance or as an appliance, hardware. As much as possible, we recommend the customer to go for the VA or virtual appliance because going for the VA, you don't need to invest in the appliance. And it is more scalable because if you have a hardware appliance, the capacity is fixed. No? So if you grow, you might come into a point where you need to replace the appliance. If you run for the VA or virtual appliance, it actually you don't need to license the VM, the SIM itself. You license actually only on the number of devices and the events per second that needs to be monitored. So that's how we size it. And the components of this one is basically what we have the supervisor. So this is actually where the main console of the SIEM reside, no? And you configure the system here. And basically management administration. No? So the GUI is all hosted here. And then we have the workers. No? So these workers, actually, they're the one who processes the logs that are being sent to the SIEM. No? So real-time search, analytics. No? And then we have the collector. No? So if you can see here in the diagram, the collector actually are the components that collect data, the logs from these devices that are in your network from more than 400 plus types of supported vendors. No? So what the logs could be SNMP, syslog, no, WMI, and supported log formats. No? So basically, this collector collects those logs, compress the logs, no? And of course these logs are encrypted, no, via HTTPS, sent to the workers for processing. And we also have lastly the agents. So these agents are actually software that you install in endpoints or server that you want more detailed reporting, because we can actually rely on network-based monitoring like SNMP, syslogs, no, etc., WMI. However, some customer wanted granular reporting. Like for example, what the agent can do, it can actually provide logs specific to applications, no? Processes within the operating system, which normally, if you use the network-based log collection, you're not able to collect those detailed logs. No? So that's where the Windows agent will come in. Now, talking about scalability, no, and in context with big data. So our solution actually enables us to just increase the number of collectors. No? Each collector can collect up to 5,000 EPS or events per second. No? And then from multiple sources and devices. And if you need more, you just provision VM collectors. No additional licensing needed for the collector. You just need to license a number of devices. In terms of the worker as well, no, if for example your deployment increase substantially, you might just need to add more workers. No, supervisor is always just one, unless you have a DR. You can have two supervisors, one for the primary and one for the DR or disaster recovery. And the worker, you can actually scale this horizontally. No? So for customers, for example, who doesn't have the virtual infrastructure, not like hypervisors like VMware, ESXi, no, Hyper-V, can opt for the appliance-based solution. So to be able to deploy this also. You can see here there's a central storage. Typically, this is using NFS, no, or network file storage. We can also upgrade to Elasticsearch, no, if the deployment is very large already, to have a faster querying and response time with regards to retrieving and sending the data to the storage. So FortiSIEM as an analytics platform, you can see here, actually it can collect, no, starting from discovery first. We discover the device, endpoints, servers, applications, users. No? Then second, we monitor, no, collect and normalize. So what does normalize mean? I mentioned that FortiSIEM already supported a lot of vendors out of the box, no, collecting their logs. The reason why we need to normalize is each of these sources of log each of these vendor, no, have different log formats. So we need to collect or translate these logs into a format that's standardized with FortiSIEM, the one that FortiSIEM can understand and it can work with. No? So That's called parsing. No? So out of the box, we already have parsing of 400 plus vendors. And if you, for example, have a vendor that is not belonging to the list of supported, we can actually create a custom parser, no, as part of our add-on services to help you enroll this unsupported vendor into the SIEM. No? So that means even those devices, no, as long as they support the log protocols, standard log protocols, no, you're able to do custom parsing to enroll this. So once that's done, you will be able to do state monitoring, no, of those systems that have been enrolled, no, like configuration, user identity mapping, no, login attempts, no, vulnerability. You can actually get a lot of data from the logs that are being sent from these devices. One thing to note that FortiSIEM solely depends, no, on the logs that are being generated. So, for example, in terms of threat and incident detection, it will really depend on the reporting device. No? So not on its own, it relies on those. Aside from, of course, the agents, no, that are also doing log collection on those servers and endpoints where you install this software too. After that, we do in parallel, we also do performance monitoring. So not only security, we monitor the CPU utilization, memory, disk usage, no? So that you can actually set, there's a default threshold, and you can also set a custom threshold if you want, so that the system will alert you or warn you if certain performance limits have been hit, no? or performance threshold have been hit, for you to prepare for maybe additional resources, no? Or any other action pertaining to high utilization. So you will not be surprised, no? If, for example, there's a high usage of your server, you know, because there's a trend, you can see historical trends in that. We can also actually do risk monitoring. So that means we can provide risk scoring on a device per device basis. Now, what is this risk scoring? It's actually a scoring based on our classification, depending on the type of incident that we detect, no, in the FortiSIEM. Is it a brute force attempt? No? Is it a particular attack that was detected? So we can risk classify it from 1 to 5. 1 being safe, no, that means benign, no risk, to 5 within the highest risk, confirmed that there's a threat, no, that needs immediate action. So actually, this risk monitoring is enhanced by the FortiGuard threat intel, no? Because once we detect a particular kind of attack, it is able to translate that, no, and into a measurable number, so that you will know what are the devices with the highest threat score that you need to take care of immediately. We can also monitor by geolocation, where the device is coming from, the IP addresses where it is connecting to and from. We can also have a built-in, the FortiSIEM has a built-in escalation ticket and can integrate with ticketing systems, external ticketing systems. If you have that kind of process in your NOC SOC, you can do that. And of course, it can reduce false positive, because there are a lot of logs that are being sent to the SIEM. So it should be able to also understand, though, what are the real threats and what are the incidents that could be could be a lot of noise, no, from devices, especially from security devices. So it should be able to filter out, no, those noise to let you see actually important logs that need to be taken care of. We also have UEBA, or behavioral analytics. No, this actually enables you to monitor, no, for unusual behavior, specifically in endpoints. No, so it can monitor for user behavior, device behavior, no, application, network behavior, and all of those things. This is an add-on component that can be availed. Then, in terms of investigation, the great thing about this FortiSIEM is you can investigate, no, with the built-in dashboard already, and you can do customization. We also have a MITRE attack framework. So this MITRE attack is basically a framework where we classify already, you know, what part of the kill chain is the detected incident classified as. So you will know, is it still in the reconnaissance phase, or it's already in the data exfiltration phase? So you will know what part of the attack kill chain. So you can provide a better action based on that understanding and knowledge. We can automatically map the detected incident in this MITRE framework. Now, it also can help you to do threat hunting because all this capability, you can use the SIEM as a tool, as a solution to the threat hunting, especially for this large amount of data and number of devices that you need to monitor. So, sorry. And lastly, response. So, with regards to response, we actually have a solution also called FortiSOR that enables us to do the response part. SIEM is for monitoring and analytics. Now, once we have this incident generated, we can use the SOR to do automated action, or you can actually use the SOR to execute a playbook. Playbook is a pre-programmed action, list of actions specific to a particular threat. You can use the built-in. You can also do customized depending on your organization and business requirements. Now let's move to the FortiAnalyzer. So the one I mentioned is the FortiSIEM. This is applicable for all the network devices, regardless of vendor. Now the FortiAnalyzer specifically for Fortinet solutions, security fabric integration point. Okay, so what is the FortiAnalyzer? So it provides deep insight and advanced threat in a single pane of glass to do orchestration, automation, and response as well for your entire attack surface or your organization. We highly recommend to use the FortiAnalyzer for FortiGate deployments and also other Fortinet solutions so that you will be able to gain historical insights into what's happening in your network. And you can take advantage of the security fabric that I mentioned, the integration point. So it actually simplifies the task of monitoring and managing logs and reports. You can customize as well. You can use the built-in, and it can also share the threat intel or the logs across different Fortinet solutions. So provide you end-to-end visibility. You can enroll the firewall. You can enroll the endpoint security, for example, the wireless, even the web application firewall, for example, for the cloud. You can integrate all of this into the FortiAnalyzer. So key features of FortiAnalyzer in terms of collecting data, security fabric analytics. For example, if there are any signs that based on the logs that are fed to the FortiAnalyzer from the Fortinet devices, you will know if there's already a breach or there's already successful security compromise. So the IOC service will warn you. And it can also do fabric integration, like what I mentioned. Some example devices, the firewall, FortiGate, FortiClient endpoint, our APT solution, the sandboxing, the FortiGate web application firewall, FortiMail, the email security, and other solutions that are not listed here. We also have advanced reporting. That means it provides hundreds of templates, specifically to make your life easier as a managed system administrator, manager, NOC analyst. So you can actually utilize this report to provide very detailed, granular report. If you want to investigate a user on a particular time or across a particular time span, you can generate that. Could be browsing history, maybe security related history. If there's a breach you can use or attack, you can use the FortiAnalyzer to query the logs that have been sent before so that you can have a historical investigation on a per time basis. Okay. And then we have the security operation. So actually FortiAnalyzer is supported the REST API protocol. So this protocol is an industry standard that enables us to automate responses across our solutions. So as long as support REST API, it can talk to other devices, Fortinet devices, and also some other devices that could be integratable via REST API. So this API enables automation without any admin user intervention. For example, if there's a particular incident that was detected by the FortiGate, it can use the REST API to trigger an action from the FortiAnalyzer or vice versa from the analyzed FortiGate. And we also have this enterprise grade high availability. No? So actually, we can have up to 4 FortiAnalyzer in a single cluster, redundancy as well as scalability. We also support multi-tenancy and ADOM, administrative domain. No? So that means we're able to utilize a single FortiAnalyzer appliance, whether it be hardware or VM, compartmentalize it into multiple virtual instances. So you can have actually a siloed approach. If you want a particular device to be managed on the specific admins and the logs only visible to that admin, you can group these devices using ADOMs. So here you can see some of the appliances we have. These are the appliance version. No? Our current latest generation is the G series. No? So F series is also quite recent. No, it's still these are all on sale currently still, and these are the latest model available from the entry level, 150G to the highest and 4500F big data model. For the private cloud, you can actually deploy the FortiAnalyzer in this supported list of VM infrastructure hypervisors. No? Most popular ESXi, and then KVM, Hyper-V, Citrix, and Tanix, etc. So if you don't want appliance, you can choose the VM. The advantage of the VM actually is it's like a pay as you grow. No? You can buy the small appliance VM, then you can upgrade the log capacity as needed. No? So it's actually more flexible in terms of if you're wanting to start from small. Public cloud, we can also deploy the FortiAnalyzer. Whether you wanted to purchase it directly from the marketplace, or as a bring your own license, or BYOL. So BYOL is just like deploying your own server in the public cloud. So basically, you buy the license and then you just deploy the image, the virtual appliance image in public cloud. Whereas if you choose the marketplace, you can actually pay per use, per hour, per day, per month, and you can also direct the purchase direct from the marketplace. So aside from that, the provisioning is also directly from the cloud already. You don't need to upload the image. Hosted, we also have a hosted option. That means Fortinet will host the FortiAnalyzer for you, in our data center and in our cloud. So this one is also another option for customers who wanted an all-out cloud, but they don't want or they don't need to deploy it in a public cloud or a private cloud. So we can have it as a hosted. It's like a security as a service, like a SaaS kind of model. Now, if you look at the FortiAnalyzer architecture option, this is the standalone. So single fast, central logging for all of the devices, all the supported devices of Fortinet solution into the analyzer. We can have actually a multi-tier architecture as well. You can have different regions with the capability to do log forwarding into a single centralized analyzer. This is in terms of scalability. If you have a big network with many data center, many offices, sites that need to forward the logs to a central log repository, you can deploy the FortiAnalyzer in a multi-tier architecture. So usually this is via an encrypted communication, like could be a VPN tunnel, could be a dedicated line going from site to site. So could be through the FortiGate as well to secure the log transmission. So it's a central FortiAnalyzer. And then in terms of high availability, we support the real-time failover, log redundancy. We can do rebuilding of the FortiAnalyzer database. And then you can also synchronize, so the FortiAnalyzer HA units, so they will act as one cluster, up to 4 of them. So 1 master and 3 slave units. And that means as long as one of them is still up, the system should be still up, unless all of them would fail. And it will leverage capacity, so that means you can share the resources. The overall performance will be better if you have cluster. This is applicable for larger deployments or very large deployments. So reporting such as the FortiView, these are some of the features that are present in the analyzer to provide you a visualized network view of your entire network connection. In terms of storage and log retention, what we have is what we call the index log and the archive log. So index log, actually, these are so they are indexed for a specific length of time, so that it will be easier or faster for you to do analysis, or maybe the last 30 days. So these are the newer logs. Incident logs can be also viewed in this FortiView log view, and incident view in the FortiAnalyzer. So, however, we also have the archive logs. So archive logs these are for the longer term retention. If you require, for example, up to 1 year of log retention, if the log is months old already, it can go to the archive log. So that means it doesn't need to be very fast retrieval, but you are able to query or retrieve these logs as needed. Because you won't need this every time or every day, but only particular instances where you need to look at them, like investigation and also, for example, looking at historical data. So these are compressed and archived and considered offline. So offline, that means it's not part of the index logs. So in terms of log retention, you can actually forward the logs that are coming from the solution into another FortiAnalyzer, a syslog server, and a common event or CEF server. So these logs can also be filtered based on devices and fields or attributes that are present in the logs. Additional feature that are capable in our analyzer is using reliable TCP connection. Okay, so it's also encrypted by a TLS or an SSL. You can also select which log field you want to store or send. Like you can exclude some of the field. You can mask log field for data's privacy. For example, you wanted to strip out the credit card number or a particular PII, that personal information that are in the logs. So you can do this. And of course, it's compressed to save also on the space and storage. Now you can see here, this is actually our FortiAnalyzer Big Data appliance. So this is our highest model for the FortiAnalyzer lab. This is fit for data center, for telco environment. You can see there are a lot of fast flash-based storage. And it can actually process up to 300,000 events per second out of this single box, supporting redundant power supply and fans, hot swappable, built-in HA already within the appliance, and it's ready for Elasticsearch integration. So this is actually a very capable, one of our most capable log appliances. Just to showcase also the capacity of the FortiAnalyzer. Now, if you don't need units that are available that could fit your organization based on your number of users or log rate. Now, in terms of specification, this is a 4U appliance, up to 200 terabytes of storage, 300K logs per second, built-in HA, and it can also be clustered. So Big Data 400F, 4500F, so it's hyperscale ready, especially if you're a telco service provider with a huge amount of subscriber information logs, or just an organization with a lot of thousands of users. This is an appliance which can fit your needs. So comparing to the regular FortiAnalyzer, the Big Data model, the 4500F, you can see here some of the additional capabilities that are available only in the Big Data. Yung analytics engine, more parallel data processing, yung architecture niya, and also it's a chassis-based solution basically, and there's a cluster manager already built in. So this is really a high rate. So other features, these are standard across both the FortiAnalyzer. So you can see here. So most of the I already explained in my previous slide. Now let's move on to the FortiAnalyzer. This is the last part. This is actually part of the artificial intelligence part of managing and monitoring the big data in terms of the amount of traffic that's going to your network. FortiAI is a network detection and response solution. Actually, it monitors your network. So we have what we call the virtual security analyst. This is actually a product or a solution that is deployed into your network now, either integrated with the FortiGate appliance or as a net or in span as a network tap to analyze what's happening in your network. It actually is similar to an APT, but it can actually do sub-second detection of malicious activity or malware. It is using, instead of sandboxing, AI or deep neural network, machine learning. So it doesn't need to detonate the suspicious file in a sandbox. Based on the characteristics of the malware, how it is coded, how it was built, the FortiAI virtual security analyst will be able to determine with a quite high level of confidence that this file is malicious or not. So it's actually it's a next evolution of detecting zero-day or advanced persistent threats. So especially those files that doesn't have any signature yet. So this is actually a solution that can help you address those kind of problems. So it can support up to 10G of network throughput via the fiber interface. It also knows up to 20 plus attack scenarios that it can analyze and monitor in your network. So in terms of the features, these are the features that I mentioned that the FortiNDR FortiAI will look at based on the coding of the file or the software that it is monitoring. So the traffic and also, if you can see here, the virtual security analyst can trace the source of an infection. You do a timeline, you can do an analysis. It can even do on-prem learning, because with AI machine learning, you will need time to train the device. So actually, FortiAI, when it is shipped to the customer, it's already pre-trained with the set of data already from Fortinet. So then if, for example, it's in your network, it can learn more about your network because its customer environment is different. So we need on-premise learning to know, or to better know what are the suspicious or malicious traffic, what's your network pattern in your environment. So with on-prem learning, actually, the detection and effectivity rate of the FortiNDR is further increased. So it's actually just like training someone to do a particular task. The more training you give, the more effective that person will become, right? So this is similar to what it is for machine learning or deep neural network solution like the FortiNDR. So it can also do breach prevention with this sub-second verdict. You don't need to wait for a long time to be able to analyze suspicious file or traffic. Can help you do threat investigation, give you a big picture analysis, and with the various attack scenarios that it can detect. In terms of integration with the fabric, security fabric, the FortiAnalyzer I mentioned, you can actually instruct FortiGate to quarantine a particular IP address or endpoint if, for example, the traffic that was detected to and from this device is detected by FortiAI. It can also do sticks JSON output, ICAP support. So these are some of the protocols that it uses to send logs and to integrate with the other solutions that are part of the security fabric. So with the security analyst, actually, there's an ROI here because these are in US dollars figure. So typically, a cost of a security analyst is quite expensive. So because these are experts in the industry, you need a lot of experience. So here in the Philippines, the cost might be not that high, but however, it's still difficult to look for a qualified person to be a NOC SOC analyst. So with the FortiNDR, we're able to help alleviate the manpower. So for example, instead of hiring 10 NOC SOC analysts, you can hire maybe just 6 only, a lot with analyzing their network traffic using AI and machine learning. And take note, this solution runs 24/7, so there's no break. So it constantly monitors your network. So that means in terms of the cost of operation, it can actually provide a good return of investment. So especially if you have a NOC SOC environment in your network with these analysts and the challenges of having to hire a lot of analysts. And then there's also skill set requirements. So it's able to, because this FortiNDR has the capability to do this investigation, aside from the, enhanced by the FortiGuard, it already knows how to do that threat investigation. So it can actually help you with the investigations. So these are the things you want to consider if you're computing the cost of that solution. So, and then looking at how it is deployed, FortiAI is actually integrated in your network via the FortiGate, ICAP, to proxy server or span port in your network if you want to monitor the network traffic. If you have FortiGate, you don't need to do the span. You can just directly integrate with the FortiGate. But however, you can also do so as well. And it can actually serve as a point where it can investigate APTs and other network traffic for any specific threats. So virtual security analyst. So these are the attack scenarios that I mentioned. So ransomware, it's able to detect this. Of course, the most common mining programs, threat files attack. All of this can be detected by the FortiAI, virtual analyst. And you can also trace the source of the attack from patient 0, where it comes from, and you can see a timeline here in the bottom, for example. So it will be easier for you to act on if there's a ongoing attack. The less time you need to investigate, the better, so you can immediately contain the attack. And of course, allowing malware and spyware work. These are some of the things that the AI can do, because attackers typically create a lot of variants so that it can evade threat signature. So with FortiAI, we're not relying on the signatures. We rely on the characteristics of the malware or file itself. So it's effective against stopping this kind of threat. Reduction of false positive. So that means over time, we're able to improve the effectivity, reduce false positive, increase detection rate due to the machine learning that I mentioned. So I think I just want to share this also. This is the example of how the process happens. So files are sent to the FortiAI. Features are extracted on the coding of the file, and they're separated to coding blocks, and then it is run into a neural network inside the FortiAI. It's an appliance we have that do this processing, comparing these 6+ million features of this tested file into different features, and then it has a scoring system. It will score based on the, for example, this kind of characteristic could be a sign of malware. There's a scoring system, and once all of this is computed, it can provide you a high-level confidence if this file is malicious or not, while not requiring you to do the actual file testing. So for my last slide, training in action. So this compares how the AI neural network is able to catch up with humans. So you can see here over time, after initial training, it is below human capability. After the fine training, it is almost on par, and continuous training, it is on par, and it could even exceed the human detection rate. So this is over time, meaning the solution will improve when it's already on your environment. So this is a very good sign or indication over time that the solution is getting more and more effective. So with that, that concludes my presentation today. Thank you for your time. Thank you also. And if you have any questions, just kindly raise it so I can answer. Thank you.